This unassuming little storage room might be my favorite build yet. I'm really excited to show this to you guys. You might have guessed just looking at the items on the walls, but this is a Piglin Bartering storage room. So I've got 12 piglins up there in the ceiling, and their drops are being sorted out and stored in these chests. It's quite fast. There's a dropper chain up there that carries the drops at 4x hopper speed across a sorting system that works at 4x hopper speed and puts all the drops into the shulker boxes at 2x hopper speed, which is might seem like a bottleneck, but when you factor in the fact that there's 15 different item possibilities, 4x hopper speed into the shulker box is overkill. You only need 2x in order to keep up. And obviously one shulker box is not enough to keep up with the kind of volume that comes from 15 Piglin Barterers, so these are special fancy shulker boxes that serve a number of functions. I'm going to show you one right now, and the other functions I think will make more sense if we first look at what most people use for Piglin Bartering storage, which is a chest wall, an old school chest wall. But the first function here is obviously, because we're not using a chest wall, we can't take more than a full shulker box out. So if we want more than, let's say that's all I need right now, then we're good. That's fine, that's enough. And the shulker box will fill back up as the bartering continues. But if we need more than a shulker box, we can't access our bulk storage from here because all we have is the one shulker box. And as you can see here, let me take this out so you can see that better. Once this shulker box reaches a certain fill level, its items are passed along to a Shulker Box Loader. So down below the floor there's full shulker box quantities of the blackstone. So if we want a full shulker box quantity, like if we want, let's say, 4 shulker boxes of leather, I take 4 leather and we drop them in here in the center. We have this input shulker. We can put these 4 in here, and let's say I also want a blackstone. We'll take a blackstone and we'll put that in there. And after a couple minutes of processing, we should get 4 full shulkers, there they are, of leather. And in a moment, since we put it in later, we'll get 1 full shulker box of blackstone. There it is, 1 full shulker box of blackstone. So we've got the best of both worlds. A single point of access, so it's not all cluttered. We don't have a giant chest wall right here. We can get less than full shulker box quantities from this shulker box. And then if we want full shulkers, we just go over here and stick a key in there, and we get a full shulker box for each key that we put in. And you can do that in any order that you want. So if I put 3 items in, blackstone, gravel, spectral arrow, and we give the system a minute to process those, we'll get 1 shulker box of blackstone, 1 of gravel, 1 of spectral arrow, and I can even, there's no time limit or delay that you need to wait. I can give this a few more blackstone and we'll get those delivered to us as well. And I'll toss these out so we can see better that that's happening. There we go. This should be the first 3 that we ordered. Spectral arrow, gravel, blackstone, and then we get the 2 blackstone that we ordered after that. Okay, so here's what we're trying to beat. This is a standard chest wall. This is what I see on most designs, and it's pretty simple. As each chest fills up, it moves on to the next chest, and so on and so forth. So as this one fills up, it'll back up into this hopper, and then this chest will start to fill up on top of it. And this is all fine and dandy, but if you want to get rid of all the visible chests here and limit yourself to just 1 access point, like we have over here, just 1 access point, but you still want the benefits of bulk storage, you have a couple problems. One, if I take some redstone out of here and I go do something, and then I come back and I want to return redstone to the storage system, if I'm gone long enough, it will have filled completely up. So even now, if I try to put all this back, I can't get it all in there. All but 38 we're allowed to go back in, which means I need access to these upper ones in order to put it back, or I need to have a separate chest that serves as like a return chest. So that's one problem. So to deal with that, we need a way of detecting how full the shulker box is. So that's the first thing we'll throw on here is a comparator. It's the only way to do it, and there's only one spot that it fits, which is directly behind the shulker box, and we will wire this comparator so that it detects when the shulker box has reached the fill point that we want. We're going to specify, I'll show you how in a minute, we're going to specify a certain fill limit, and that fill limit can be whatever we want it to be. We can have it start to drain out when it's completely full, or when it's halfway full, whatever we want. We need a hopper under the shulker box for the items to drain through. There. So right now, any item that's in the shulker box will be detected, and you can see items are already draining out. So the shulker box has items in it, they're detected, the redstone torch turns off, which unlocks the hopper below, and they drain out, which we don't want. This is just going to keep going until it's completely empty, and the shulker box will never retain any items. So what we do is fill this chest almost full, and that sends a signal into the side of the comparator, and unless the comparator receives a signal that's stronger than what this chest is producing, it will lock the hopper below and freeze our items in our shulker box. So if we come back up here, now we don't have items draining out, but if we fill it completely full, items will drain out until this shulker box matches the template box. And if we take items out of here, then that will set the natural fill level of this shulker box even lower. So if we take some items out, it will, there it is, it's reached its natural fill level and stopped draining. So this allows us to always have accessible empty spots for returning items in, unlike over here. We take items out, it automatically starts filling up. If we come over here, we can take items out and it won't start filling back up. Which obviously it's not filling back up right now because we have nothing going into it, but if I manually put items in there, they'll drain back out until it reaches its natural fill level. Okay, so that takes care of keeping the shulker box from filling up completely, so that we can always put items back into it. But now how do we get items into it in the first place? We've already taken up one of the spots on the back with our comparator, so we can't put a hopper there. We can't get in on the bottom because we've got a hopper on the bottom draining it out, which means we've only got the top. And I like to hide my redstone. I don't like any visible redstone. So a hopper on top is not ideal because you can see through the sides of it. It's very difficult to incorporate this into a design, and we still, even then, have some trouble accessing. I suppose we could come in from the back there, but again, you'll be able to see the hoppers, and we don't want that. So instead, we're going to use droppers, and this has a major advantage in that we can load the shulker box at 2x hopper speed, because droppers can, they work twice as fast as hoppers. Let's see, we need one facing down, we need one facing in, and one facing down yet again, and then we're going to have a hopper going to the top and a hopper into the side. And that's what gives us our 2x hopper speed. We have a hopper coming in the top of the dropper and one coming in on the side. And if we put a comparator clock on this, it will fire at 2x hopper speed. And right away you can tell this introduces a new problem. It is obnoxiously loud, like really loud. If with 15 of these around the room, all of them clicking like that, we're going to go insane. So we need to silence these droppers, and that can be done. Got a little setup right here just to walk you through some of the basics of what makes a dropper click. We've got an empty dropper here, a dropper with items in it here, and a dropper with a container next to it. And droppers make 3 different noises, if you count silence as a noise. If we put an observer clock on the side of an empty dropper, it makes this kind of high pitch clicking sound, the same sound we're hearing over here. Let me turn that off actually. A dropper that's ejecting items makes a different sound. It's kind of a lower pitch. But if there's a vessel or container, like a chest, a hopper, or another dropper on the other side of a dropper, this one has some items in it, it doesn't make any noise at all. So it's actually possible to make a completely silent hopper chain just by ensuring that all of the droppers that are being used have items in them. So you can see here, if we put an item in front of this observer, we're going to get a chain of clicking, because these are all empty, so they're going to behave like this guy up here. But then if we just put a single piece of redstone in here and activate it again, nothing. Completely silent. Because every dropper that fired had redstone in it. And there we get the clicking back because there's no more redstone. So if we fill this guy up and put a clock in front of it, completely silent, no clicking, no going insane. And with just a slight modification, we can rig this guy to run silently. We'll just put a comparator in the top dropper, build a bridge out here, stick a piston under it, and activate the piston so it pulls our observer away, stopping the clock. And now we have silence. And then we'll rig it with a chest on top just to simulate items coming in at 2x hopper speed. So this guy's now filling up at 2x hopper speed. And, oh, we need our redstone here. And we're deliberately going with 3 pieces of redstone here so that the piston is not activated until this dropper is slightly full. And now that it's primed, let's see, let's get this out of here so we can see it run out. Now that that's primed, and it'll stay primed, so we've got all our items in here and nothing else coming into the system, so it's deactivated, the hopper clock has stopped, and the droppers below stay primed. This one has 1 in it, this one has 1 in it, and this one has some number in it. And if we drop more items back in, silent dropper chain. And this is what it looks like when we scale that idea up. You do have the noise of the pistons, but it's not too bad. Way better than 15 droppers times 3, so 45 droppers going off constantly. Okay, but where's the crafting bench, I hear you saying? We've got respawn anchors in all the corners here. We have all 15 item locations around us. Shulker box input in the middle. So where's the crafting bench? We don't have room for one, it seems. So I hid one in the floor right here. This is a repeater. These are repeaters, by the way, underneath, behind these trapdoors. These are needed for the item filters. If we go back out here, you're going to hear the clicking that's up there. We'll look at that in a minute. If we head out here, these are the item filters that put everything into our shulker boxes, and they need repeaters underneath them. So we've put those repeaters under on top of trapdoors just for aesthetic reasons. I thought it looked cool. Wouldn't open those ordinarily, but this one has an observer pointed into it. So if we right click on that repeater from under here, the observer can see it, and there's our crafting bench. Tucked away, and we can put it back whenever we want. Alright, so what's next with this thing? We still need to connect the gold farm up to a crafting station that's going to go right down here. Right on top of here there's going to be a crafting station for crafting the gold nuggets into ingots to be fed to the piglins, and I've got a cool design lined up for that. And then right here the piglins themselves need to be fed their gold, so none of that's wired up. Right now I'm just manually feeding them gold, and we need to automate that. So stay tuned for that. And probably the most important thing that I haven't figured, I don't even know how I'm going to do this yet, but we need overflow protection on these shulker loaders, so that when this chest is completely filled with full shulkers, we don't overload the system and start losing full shulkers. If you have any ideas for how we should do that, let me know in the comments, because I have no idea. And that's it for today, guys. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one.